Okay, today we are playing a game on Dorado. We are playing McCree the entire way through, and I don't know the exact SR for this game, but we are in the bronze SR range somewhere. Didn't push tab at a convenient time for us to look at the team. The only thing of note is that we only have one tank right now, and it's Roadhog. If you're comfortable playing Reinhardt, I would recommend changing to Reinhardt in this position, because it's very difficult to attack without a Reinhardt, but, if you don't know how to play Reinhardt, it's usually not worth bothering with. Oh, there goes the cat immediately. Okay. So, let's start the game anyway. Oh, that's much too loud. That's much too loud. Alright, so, coming out of the gate, our Mercy immediately gets picked off by Hand Soap, so that's a bit upsetting, and he then indeed picks somebody else off. It's the Junkrat, which we have on attack. On Dorado. Junkrat. It's very sad. So, Roadhog's just tried to hook us. That was very scary. We're walking around with kind of low hit points right now. Might as well just walk back up into the spawn to heal at this point, since most of your healers are dead. But Mercy came back and started healing us, so it's fine. Now, it's going to be really difficult for us to advance, because the enemy is elected to fight us here, which is too far up, but, I mean, that's just... People love standing, like, here on defense on Dorado and lower SRs. Very much not where you want to stand, but we don't have a Reinhardt, so it's actually going to be pretty difficult for us to push through this area. We managed to catch the McCree with our flashbang, but Roadhog just happens to cut in front of us, so that sucks, and then we end up getting picked off by Hand Soap. Now, because we know they have a sniper... Gotta try and not walk in such, like, a predictable pattern, because when you're walking away from this fight, you could also retreat slightly more to the right and try and use the payload for a bit of cover and just, like, duck around the corner, but you just kind of walk backwards in a straight line, and it's a really easy for him to hit. Just like, you know, zigzag, crouch and uncrouch, that works sometimes as well. You know, vary your movement a little bit more, because they have a sniper. I mean... Hanzo's not a sniper, but he's a sniper, right? So, you gotta be careful about just moving around really predictably. So we're coming up around the backside to try and get them now. We managed to sneak up on the Reinhardt. We almost kill him, but we almost actually end up getting pinned by him, because we kind of jump on top of his head right there. Just, like, punch him right there. Like, that'd kill him. But if you come up in this kind of position on a tank, usually you want to, like, flashbang... fan, roll, fan again, and that will, if not kill, very close to kill the tank, so, you know, but just, like, punch him in that situation. He's got, like, no hit points left. So, that happened right there. We just rolled out of the way, that's fine. Now is going to be the difficult part. We got through the easy part because they shouldn't have been standing there, so it wasn't that hard for us to get through in the end. Now we have to get through the choke point, without a Reinhardt, which is going to be very hard. First point on Dorado, one of the hardest points to take in the entire game, so this is going to be pretty difficult. In this kind of position where the enemy team at this point has mostly retreated behind the gate, behind the archway, if not completely. In this kind of position, if you're playing someone that likes to be on high ground, you can just go up the staircase behind you and stand up in the window up here, and then, you know, you've got a minor high ground advantage. You don't have to stand in the choke point, which is, of course, a very dangerous place to be standing. You're gonna be standing up here, and that kind of just, like, splits their focus. There's, like, a lot of cover to use up there, and if you're feeling threatened, you can always just retreat back, either out the window or over that direction. And it just makes it a little bit more difficult for the defenders, rather than all clumping up, like, in the choke point. Because... usually once they've fallen back, there's not too many people on the balcony above us anymore. There might be one or two people, but you're playing McCree, you're pretty good at killing one person. So if there's like a soldier or something, or a Junkrat up here, we can kill him and just take the high ground over ourselves. Because this is low SR, there's not going to be like a huge collection of people up there or anything. And that can make it a little bit easier to try and push through the choke points. So right now we're trying to push through as best we can with what we've got. Diva's here now, so we can kind of hide behind her. Very scary to walk that far forward into a Roadhog, but we don't get hooked for it, that's cool. Hanzo's up there, we flashbang him and then we fan the hammer into him. A little bit too far away to fan the hammer at that point. Better off just trying to left-click into him if you can. He's getting pocketed by a Mercy at that point, though, so you're pretty unlikely to kill him just because the angle is, like, really hard to actually, like, kill him with. So, unfortunate. Again, you're playing McCree, you're pretty good at killing one person, and Mercy is, like, up there with him, but that's not too much of a dissuasion. You could try and go up there and dislodge the Hanzo yourself if you're playing McCree. Or if he continues to stay up there and be an issue, you could also consider changing to Winston if he's like really causing an issue. But McCree, really good at killing one person. If one person is like mostly off by themselves and you can get to them safely, you can just go over there and like try to bully them away. And if Hanzo's like hanging out up there, you can even, if you can't go up like the left-hand side, you could always go like the really long way around to try and get him off, right? If you like really, really have to. So we've got High Noon now, that's cool. A little bit hard to work within this area. This is again where it would be better to be up on the high ground, because then High Noon is better up on the high ground. Or if our team starts getting like a solid push going over here, we could, if we're up here, it's not too much of a walk to try and cut round the back and like try to get them from the side with High Noon if our team is like distracting them over here. Wouldn't recommend that the flanking maneuver at a higher SR, because you'll just, like, get seen and get killed. But this is bronze SR. You can get away with that kind of thing more often down here, because people are less likely to punish you. So we've rolled forward. This is very, very aggressive. We've managed to get their, Zenyatta, which is cool, obviously. But it's really scary, because, like, look what's happening right now. Like, we just cut in front of their entire team, roll forward, and we get the Zenyatta, but now we're also fucked. That would be a good maneuver to do if it wasn't so dangerous for us to do it. Because we end up dying, and then we just end up trading, which is a net gain, because we will get back there faster than Zenyatta will, but you're not usually looking to just trade. You're playing McCree, like, ideally, you were just kind of, like, hanging around this area, or, like, over in that area, and you just, like, left-click him from far away, because Zenyatta's, like, really easy to hit. Literally a floating cube of a hitbox. The roll-in flashbang maneuver you've got to be pretty careful of, because the thing is, you use your only mobility to go in that position, so you've got to think, what am I rolling into? Am I going to roll into death? And if you're going to roll into death, it's usually not worth trying. So we still have High Noon. High Noon is still really hard for us to work with in this position. We just saw Reaper get rezzed and immediately die, so that sucks. And again, we don't have a Reinhardt. Like, this is making it really difficult just because we don't have a Reinhardt. We can't, like, walk through this area very easily. If you don't have a Reinhardt, or, I guess, an Orisa, now, like, Orisa's not a replacement for Reinhardt, but she can fill a similar gap to Reinhardt. If you don't have a Reinhardt, basically, it's better to be up on the high ground, like, in the window, because just walking through the choke point is really, really scary. If you don't mind, like, talking to people, which, I mean, I don't know, like, it doesn't matter either way to me. I don't talk to anyone, and I do just fine. But if you don't mind talking to people, ideally in this kind of position, you think to yourself, okay, this route isn't working. You can try and get your team to go up this way with you, and just try from a different angle. And then, like, you can try and push in through the staircase, you can try and, like, pressure people off from the window still while their attention's getting split, you know, things like that. Rather than just trying to keep, like, smacking your face into the choke point, hoping it'll work. But yeah, this is Dorado. Dorado's first point is really hard to capture, and we've not had a Reinhardt until right now. So we tried and kill this McCree. Oh, it would have worked out if one of them was a headshot. I admire the effort. It was close. Like, this is the kind of position, though, where I'm in, where I'd, like, try and get one shot in on the McCree, and then I'd just roll off to the staircase to try and get out of range. Like, roll over and then crouch to just try and get out of his line of sight, because I would not be confident in my ability to kill the McCree. But if you're confident in your ability to kill the McCree, then that's fine. But one of them does have to be a headshot, so it's pretty hard. So we, I believe, don't get back to touch it again. We never got to use this high noon. That's not very surprising, honestly, because of the way Dorado's first point is. You kind of have, like, you have to get a solid push going, or, like, do it from the window, or, like, on the side, or you just stand, like, far back in front of the choke point, and just start channeling to try and zone them out of the choke point while you try and push in. But that usually requires a little bit more coordination, because your team has to actually go in when you're trying to zone them off like that. And this is Bronze SR, This is Bronze SR. We can't really depend on our team actually helping us. So, now, we're playing McCree. Still, we're on defense. In the low SR range, and by that I basically mean below plat. If you're going to play McCree on defense on Dorado, I would recommend playing Soldier. And the reason for that is because low SR teams, they fucking love to stand all the way over here. This is, like, not where we want to stand. We want to be standing up on the high ground behind us. If our team's fighting them over here, and we're playing McCree, and we're up on the high ground, we're not really going to do too much, because we're starting to get, like, damage fall off. It's really far away. McCree prefers to be closer to the front line. He's a close to mid-range fighter. Soldier 76 is a mid to long range fighter, so if our team is fighting over here and we're playing Soldier 76, we can stand up on the balcony anyway, which is where we want to be standing, and still be efficient, and still be doing our job, right? Because Soldier can operate from that kind of range, and he's a pretty independent hero because he has, like, self-heal and everything like that. So, just because it's, like, low SR and your team's probably going to come fight over here, you don't want to be over here, I'd recommend playing Soldier in this position, just because you can stand where you want to be and still be doing your job, right? Because if you're playing McCree, you kind of have to stand reasonably close. Like, you have to basically stand in the street if your team's fighting over here, and you don't really want to be standing in the street, because the balcony's just, like, a little bit too far out of range to fight over here. But ideally, your team is not standing over here, obviously, but there's only so much you can do to control your team. You can try and get them to go stand on the balcony, but if they don't want to go stand on the balcony, they won't go and stand on the balcony, and then what can you do? And it's sad, because this is actually a pretty good showing for McCree on defense. Not right there, we accidentally, like, flashbang ourselves, because we threw it just a little bit too late, and he deflected it into us. But we kill him, then we see Farah, we kill Farah, then Soldier's behind us, we whip around, and we punish him with the flashbang fan the hammer. Fucking textbook, right? That's fucking textbook McCree play right there. God, that's the reason you play McCree, because you feel like a god when you do something like that. Just, like, pop him, and then you kill somebody else with fan the hammer. Feels good. A+. So, you know, we're feeling it now. We're feeling it now, Mr. Krabs, and obviously we don't want to be this far up in general, but we have just killed 3 of their team, and all 3 DPS at that point as well. So, because it's basically just Reinhardt over here trying to defend with a Mercy, you can just walk up right now, you can just, like, walk up to him and throw the flashbang over him, get, like, a headshot, or get a headshot in, like, and try to kill him, since your team is trying to kill him. Yeah, you still don't want to be fighting up here if at all possible, but you're in the kind of range and where you can walk up and throw the flashbang, and it's not too likely you'll get punished because half their team is dead right now. Genji's coming back now. We've mostly killed him. You could kill him in that position right there. This takes a little bit of practice to get the exact range for this down, because we've almost killed him, and he's deflecting. You can throw the flashbang at him and cancel his deflect. This is risky to do, because you can mess this up if you don't know the range of everything quite right. Because Genji's deflecting, if you flashbang just around him, it'll stun him. But his hitbox when he's deflecting is, like, fucking big, actually. So it takes a little bit of practice to get the exact range down to flashbang a Genji while he's deflecting, but you could kill the Genji in this position if you flashbang him correctly. And that's something that you'll kind of need to learn if you're going to play McCree at a higher level, because you're going to find yourself in situations where you need to flashbang the Genji out of deflect. So now, all this is happening, very scary. We're now going to throw the flashbang over Reinhardt's shield, but right in the middle of this scuffle, I'm going to try to get the exact point, we see Soldier right here. Right now, you gotta, like, notice this Soldier. He's not behind Reinhardt's shield. Flashbang him, fan the hammer, and then roll away, right? Because you'll just flashbang, kill him, and then you roll away to get out of range of Reinhardt, since we are currently really close to Reinhardt. That's the best thing to do in that situation. We throw it over Reinhardt instead. We get just popped by a couple people, and we end up dying, and it's unfortunate, and we do not get back in time to touch the payload. I'll tell you that right now. Somebody's now playing Torbjorn. Perfect time to play Torbjorn when you're already losing. Someone accurately notes this comp isn't working, but it's a little bit beyond help at this point. Just, like, start running towards it in this position. We all know you're gonna touch the point and immediately die, but, like, just go up and touch it, right? You never know. Some chances, like, a 1% chance is better than a 0% chance, right? So let's watch the play of the game. It was you with Sharpshooter. Oh, it was this part. Oh, that's in the play of the game, that's unfortunate. But this is, like, really good, actually. Like, oh, Soldier, oh, spin round. You took a little bit, I don't know if your sensitivity is kind of low, because I just noticed right there, it looks like you have trouble turning around. Because you notice, like, it looks like you have to do, like, 3 pick-up and swipes to turn around right there, so I'm not sure, like, if your sensitivity is too low, because it looked like you had trouble turning right there, I only just noticed. So, I mean, the thing is, right, it's hard to, really, the play early on in this game would have been to switch to Reinhardt, to try and, like, push through the choke point. If you don't know how to play Reinhardt, it's not really worth switching, but you're, like, in a 4-man team right here as well. Like, if somebody knows how to play Reinhardt, like, a Reinhardt is pretty important for, like, a choke point like that, because sooner or later you do have to basically just try and walk through the choke point, which is really hard if you don't have a Reinhardt. And if they do have a Reinhardt, which they did, which makes it really difficult. It's really hard if the enemy team has a Reinhardt and you don't have a Reinhardt, just in general, because no one quite does what Reinhardt does like Reinhardt. So, anyway, this was, like, a decent McCree game. You gotta be careful about, like, by positioning too aggressively, basically. Again, this is difficult because you don't have a Reinhardt, so it's hard to be standing in a safe position, but, like, you roll forward in to kill the Zenyatta, but you're not, like, thinking about the danger next to you, so you make the aggressive play and get punished for it. You kill him, but you die for it as well, so it's not super worth it. And you're sort of just trying to, like, walk through the choke point when you don't have a tank to stand behind, really, so, and it's not really going to work out as McCree. McCree is not good at just walking through places, because he's like walking through a choke point like that, because you just get, like, beat to death from further outside of McCree's range, right? Like, there's just, like, a Junkrat shelling you and things like that, and you gotta try and push through a tank line. It's not going to work out. You gotta either wait for somebody else to start pushing him, which would have been D.Va or Roadhog in this case, or you've got to try and, like, get a different angle to work with, basically, which in Dorado is, like, up in the bridge window, or, from, like, the staircase, just trying to, like, get their attention, because the staircase is actually pretty safe. You can retreat away very easily, and there's, like, a large health kit if you really need it. So you can fight from the staircase on Dorado pretty easily if you're on attack, because it's really easy to just retreat backwards. But walking through the choke point isn't really gonna work out, just like as McCree. And high ground also is just really good. As Master Obi-Wan Kenobi taught us, high ground is really fucking overpowered. Those were, like, the major things. This is a pretty short game, so there isn't too much to really talk about. Don't be afraid to try and, like, flashbang the Genji that's deflecting. I guess, like, prioritization, because, like, you kind of give up on the Genji when he's deflecting, but you're playing McCree, so you can still try and kill him through deflect. And then immediately afterwards, there's like the soldier that's outside of the Reinhardt's shield, but we instead flashbang the Reinhardt when we could flashbang and kill the soldier. So I guess prioritization as well, minorly, but again, this is a pretty short game, so there's not too much. Positioning like too aggressively stood out to me, and I guess like a minor example of target prioritization. So, anyway, that's that. Thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. More than happy to answer, and I hope you found the video helpful.